Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again is my co-host Tocayos, Adrian. Adrian, what's good, bro?
Hey, how's it going, man? Just out here, getting better, feeling better. Good October camp, I guess, for both L3 and USMNT. Overall, things considered, and ready to see what we learned.
Yeah, man. It was a camp where they played obviously better opposition, right? Mexico and United States opposition that isn't CONCACAF opposition, and it's always good when you play these teams because I feel like you learn a lot more playing and losing against Germany and beating Ghana than beating St. Kitts and Nevis and I don't know, Guatemala or something, right? 5-0, 5-0. Obviously, you're going to learn a lot more from a defeat against Germany than you would ever against these island nations. So good on the USA Federation for scheduling these and a lot to learn. More positives than negatives, definitely for sure. Let's get into it, man. I think the first positive and the most important positive here that we kind of discussed was Gioreyna. He gets a check mark coming back, obviously, from a long injury where he had to fight his way back to form and to match fitness. Came back for BVB, Borussia Dortmund, then got injured again, and just now getting back to his form. Still can't go on 90 minutes, so was used sparsely here. Played 45 minutes against Germany, and then played against against Ghana, and I think he played 45 minutes as well. I think they took him off at the halftime. Yeah, they took him off in minute 46 or at halftime. Gio Reyna, man, he gets a green check mark. He, for many reasons, right? One of which he looks to have put the thing between him and Triple G behind him. It didn't look to have affected him at all during this camp. When he was taken off against Germany, the USA completely collapsed going forward. That first half against Germany, I felt they played really well. They were competitive. They were showing signs of life going forward, very dangerous going forward, the USA. He was making things happen. And, he, as soon as he got taken off against Germany, that's when it all went downhill for the USA attack wise. I think it's safe to say, at least in my opinion, I don't know if I'd like to hear your opinion on this as soon as I'm done talking here, but I think when he's fit, when he's healthy, I think he is the USA's best player, above Pulisic, above mckennie. I think he has just become a player that has to start 100% of the time moving forward. What do you think?
I totally agree with you, man. I think we have said plenty of times before here in PPG that he's perhaps the player with the highest ceiling for the USMNT. It's unfortunate that right now he's not playing week in and week out with Borussia Dortmund. But even if he's just a constant sub or just playing 80% of the time at Borussia Dortmund, he's still the best man on the pitch whenever the entire team meshes to his rhythm, right? I agree. I totally agree with you. Whenever he was removed against Germany, that's when we saw that the USMNT is very vulnerable on the offensive if he's not around. Um, I agree that this is a positive. I just want to ponder the question: is it a negative to know that the USMNT is one team with him on the pitch and another one without him?
I think that is, man. Until you find somebody that replaces him equally going forward, because he plays in that three triangle, right, between Musah, mckennie, him, Luca de la Torre, Cardoso, Tyler Adams are kind of the 6 or 7 players that are kind of in that rotation for those 3 starting spots where Triple G likes to play 4-3-3. So he's the only one that really gives you that option going forward. mckennie, he's more of a long ball, win the ball in the middle and do long ball. He doesn't take players on as much. Tyler Adams, obviously, he doesn't play that type of role. Neither does Musah. Luca del Torre is more of a Tyler Adams replacement. So there's a big drop off there, in that 3 triangle, midfield triangle, when Reyna doesn't play. So which is unfortunate because he is so injury prone, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
let's just hope he continues to play and go somewhere where he can keep playing because maybe at the World Cup, had he gotten more minutes, it would have been a different story. But I mean, easy to say now, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Going forward for him. Again, fingers crossed that he stays healthy. Um, get one more thing before we move on from Gioreyna. He did score 2 goals for Ghana. I mean, the goals weren't really the important thing. I think his overall performance of how he
Yes.
controls the forward line and the attack for the USMNT were the real standouts for him. Another big positive that I kind of wanted to talk to right after Gio Reyna because it kind of goes hand in hand with him. I want to give a shout out to Balogun. He scored against Ghana
Mm.
with a very well taken pass from timweah, where timweah pretty much destroyed that whole flank on the right side and left an open Balogun in the middle. Found him and he quickly turned around and just took a shot. He assisted with an asterisk the Pulisic goal against Germany. Pulisic did 99% of the work on that golazo, but he did get the assist on that one. But I think he had a great hold of play in the first half against Germany. He didn't score against them, but he was able to pull Hummels and Rudiger out of position multiple times with the help of Reyna and allowed Reyna to have that freedom going forward. He has specified, in an interview that the person he likes playing the most with and is most excited to grow a relationship with is Gio Reyna. So I think it definitely showed in the first half against Germany and the first half against Ghana when they're playing together, especially that front four of gioreyna, timweah, Pulisic, and Balogun. I think the USMNT can be very dangerous. He looked out of it when Gioreyna was taken off on the field. He just was completely out of the match after that. So I think Balogun, green check mark, goal, assist, pretty much. I think he is, unfortunately for Pepi, because we like Pepi, but I think Pepi Balogun is the undisputed number 9 at this point for the USMNT. Do you think so?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking. Is that this? My bad. This is another very decent performance by Balogun on, again, I'm sorry, on friendlies, or I guess with the USMNT, and it just solidifies the idea that he is the number 9 that the USMNT has to go to for every single match if it's available and healthy, right? Unfortunately for the other strikers, this just means that they have to essentially fight for the second and third string positions, right? Because I don't think Balogun is gonna drop it anytime soon. I understand that you may lose some. You become less threatening with putting the ball on the air, but what he provides in terms of cohesion and really getting that understanding on how his his teammates move and are able to capitalize on him pulling center backs out of their position. It's very crucial for the USMNT. I really hope that Triple G, you know, goes 100% with this specific strategy and just keeps on honing in, man. Because if they're able to find a cadence where this becomes a very automatized play, where timweah goes wide, brings it in, and then crosses the ball in the middle, and you can find Balogun, it's going to be very difficult to withstand the USMNT.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this young USMNT adapts going forward. We're talking about 4 or 5 years in the future when Tim Weah begins to lose that speed. Serginho Dest begins to lose that speed. Pulisic, Balogun, because right now they they're great going forward because a lot is attributed to their speed, right? And obviously not saying that that's all the USMNT has. No, they're very skillful players. But we saw Tim Weah. I'm leading into my third check mark here, which is Tim Weah. We saw him completely. The first half against. He also benefited from Gio Reyna, but he had a lot of dangerous plays where he was receiving long balls through by mckennie or by Serginho Dest, and just completely destroying the German defense and the German midfield in terms of pace. And again, he did that against Ghana. So I think Tim Weah, another very very important person going forward for the USMNT, assisted Balogun's goal, like we mentioned, and I think it's getting easier for. We mentioned kind of a similar topic when we were doing the 6 things we learned for Ed 3, where Jimmy Lozano, he's kind of starting to get his preferred 11 slowly. I think Triple G starting, if you give him a sheet of paper and you tell him name, 4-3-3 formation, who is your first guaranteed players on the pitch? I think at this point he's starting to fill in the roles of Balogun, Tim Weah, Pulisic, uh, Gio Reyna, and I think the other one will be Turner, right? And he's starting to get those 11 that are always going to be his go-to number nines or number starters. Sorry, and I think timweah at this point is so far ahead of Aronson or other wingers that he's definitely one of the first players on the sheet.
Yeah, he continues to look strong, even though he's not necessarily a very go-to player for Juventus. He either gets subbed in or he starts and then gets subs out on the second half. But man, I mean, he really seemed to understand what Christian Pulisic, Gioreyna, and Balogun need from him. Uh, as you mentioned, he pretty much kept, at least for the first half, the Germany defense very busy, and then the Ghanaian defense just couldn't handle him. He looked strong, fast, very light on his touches, and the way that he was dissecting the defender in front of him. So all good things about timweah.
Yeah, and like you said, he's somebody that doesn't really play in his position, favorite position at Juventus.
Hmm.
It would be interesting to see how much better he can get if he's able to land that spot and land consistent minutes
Yeah.
there with Juve. Obviously, he's looked at it as a long-term project for Juventus, signed a 5-year contract with them, so he's one to look out for, definitely going forward for the USMNT as a critical player. Moving to a neutral, man, there wasn't a lot of neutrals and negatives from these two games. I think for the most part, obviously the Ghana game was all positives. The Germany game had some negatives to it, which we'll discuss after this. But I think a neutral, based off his performances from both games, is Serginho Dest, someone who looked fantastic against Ghana. He's shown that he's very dangerous going forward. He could be part of that attack that the USMNT does so well. He's got that pace. He's got the capacity to beat defenders one on one, and he's moved to a league and to a team in PSV where he's playing and he's pretty much starting now consistently for them. The reason he's a neutral is because of his poor performance against Germany. Right. To be fair to him, most defenders would struggle against Leroy Sané, but Sané was just tearing him up, and it's something that we've kind of come accustomed to with Sergio Dest. He does well in lesser leagues, like it is with PSV and the Eredivisie, but he seems to struggle against better leagues or against teams in better leagues, like he did with La Liga Serie A, or playing against bigger and better national teams, like Germany. He's fantastic against middle table, lower table teams, but struggles against bigger teams. Something that he definitely has to work on the defensive end. What did you think of this?
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you. It's tough to see him try to be a defender, right? Because he just ain't. He ain't. He doesn't know how to defend. Is not his strongest suit, and I just think that Triple G falls in that complacency of just keeping him because he knows Serginho Dest, and I guess in a way he's remaining loyal to him. But I think the match against Germany should be a good proponent for Triple G to think things through and make a decision whether he wants to have a more solid defense or if he would like to just have that element of surprise with Serginho Dest whenever he's able to join the attack. This is a great opportunity for Joe Scally to show that he's a dependable player, and even though he's not necessarily the best at going forward, he remains very balanced in terms of being able to run throughout the pitch and have some decent crosses. But his area of expertise is being a great defender, before anything else. So,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, Serginho Dest is just, I don't want to say disappointing right now, but it just reinforces the idea that I have that his level is Eredivisie, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like you mentioned, maybe for Triple G, he has a game plan versus top 10 opposition versus, and then comparing it to not top 10 opposition. Maybe not against not top 10 opposition. He plays at Citino West, right? Because it gives the USMNT another aspect, another option going forward. But maybe against top 10 oppositions like Germany, England, Spain, Portugal, whatever, Argentina, Brazil, he plays Joe Scally and Anthony Robinson on the wings because they offer better defensive qualities than Dest. I think USA right now is currently has a lot of riches in terms of talent, so he doesn't necessarily have to continue with Dest in every situation. There's many situations, many matches where Dest is not the number one option and shouldn't be the number one option going, defensively. So we'll see how Triple G adapts to facing these teams, which is good. Why another good reason for them playing against this type of opposition. You get to see how these players adapt to these games. I think the one negative we had here, man, that we discussed was the second half against Germany. The USA really did not have anything going forward, struggled defensively. That third goal that they received was an unlucky touch off of a rebound from Tim Ream hitting it off of a German forward, but ultimately was a third goal. But other than that, they were lucky not to lose 4-5-1. Turner kind of kept them in it. But they could not win or dominate possession at all in the second half, not even stints or spells of 5-10 minutes here or there. And it kind of just reinforces the first check mark we had of this episode that the USA cannot and shouldn't rely on gioreyna to be healthy and fit for 100% of the time. Again, when he got taken off, all threat going forward was gone. So that second half was hard to watch, but obviously it was against Germany. Kind of suspected. I think we even said in our predictions they might lose 2-0, 3-1, 3-0. So it kind of happened. After some time, Germany was just able to break them down, and the difference in quality kind of came through. But Triple G definitely. I think the summary of this negative point is that Triple G has to have a game plan, has to be able to adapt to these kind of matches because that second half was not pretty.
Yeah, no, and I wanted to say that I normally give a lot of grace to Triple G, right? I tend to always see the positive on Triple G, but I do want to say that second half against Germany, it's all his fault. I started to see a pattern, man, where whenever he plays tougher opposition, he always gets outplayed big time, right? And I'm starting to realize what you have been saying for a while now is that he is a very unexperienced coach. And I don't mean this that he hasn't coached, because he has a career doing so, but he doesn't have a track history or a trajectory to be able to respond or to adapt on those very tough, difficult situations, right? He's not even a winner coach at the MLS level, right? He wasn't very good at the MLS. He got dumped by the Swedish team because he wasn't delivering any results. So these are the times where now I get it. Now I understand when some of the USMNT fans and people and PPG friends out there always complain about Triple G. And I'm worried, dude. I'm very worried that when the USMNT faces more challenging teams, that he's just gonna crumble again.
Get out coached like he did against
Yeah.
Netherlands. Yeah.
Yes.
He does tend to get out coached by these I guess better coaches or better opposition. So that like I said, that's why a lot of PPG and a lot of USMNT fans are on the side of if we were to have a more experienced coach, we could take this team to a completely other level and be a force, right? But a lot of fans think Triple G is holding the USMNT back. But I guess we'll see. Next year has a lot of tournaments, a lot of big prizes to play for. So hopefully he'll learn how to adapt from this game. Ending it on a positive here, man. I think there were, like we said, there was a lot of positives definitely, and I think we want to add Turner to the list. It would have been a lot worse against Germany if it wasn't for him. He had some critical and crucial stops there for the USMNT. There was a couple that he deflected as soon as they were going lower 90, upper 90. He just was there where it needed to be. He was unlucky, like we said, for Germany's third goal. Maybe he could have done a little better in deflecting Germany's first goal, not into the path of Gundogan. But Other than that, I think he really kept the USMNT in that one for a long time. And the one time he really got challenged on in that Ghana match was from a shot from a Ghanaian player from outside the box that kind of got a deflection and was going upper 90 or close to it, and he was able to react to it just in time and deflect it out. So I think Turner, a player that he's probably the only player that has no one like behind him fighting for that spot at this point. He's the only locked in really player that will start 100% of the time when he's available. Good October friendlies from Turner, and he's playing for Nottingham Forest, starter there. Good to see him getting some game time. Uh, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, very little to say about Matt Turner. I think he's a favorite for PPG. Um, Another two strong performances, as you said, a little unlucky against Germany. Kind of tough to say that he had a good match when he got scored three times, but I wouldn't necessarily put all of those goals on. I see responsibility, and yeah, I mean, there's no lie that there's no one like Matt Turner right now. For once, I am a head turner. I'm a huge fan of Matt Turner.
Turning heads, man. Um,
Hell yeah.
well, well, Adrian, man, good. Like we said, good month for the USMNT and for Mexico. A lot to learn, a lot to take away here for both matches, for both teams. As we wrap up this episode, bro, where can listeners find us?
Man, they can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Puro Pinche Gol. We post stuff every now and then.
Yeah, make sure to follow us. Let us know in the comments below. We like interacting with you guys, obviously, down there. So let us know what you thought of the USMNT's performance against Germany and Ghana. Were there any notable performances that we kind of missed, or that you think deserved a green check mark, or anybody that you thought was negative in these two matches, other than what we discussed? Two matches that were the opposite of Juegos Moleros, two very fun friendlies that we hope we'll see more of going forward for the USMNT. But yeah, let us know in the comments your thoughts on these two matches. Yeah, man, another good episode with you, brother. I'll see you in the next one.
Take it easy. And I want to read those Ghanaian comments. Come on, bring them on.
Ghanaian fan comments, yeah, those were interesting. All right, brother. I'll see you in the next one.
See ya.